into the present moment. Realizing that you are experiencing the present moment may shock you the moment it happens because you instantly see everything for what it is, the truth. There is no sugarcoating the truth, which is the first piece of the awakening. Also, once you have this stark realization, there is no returning to the old normal of making things into the way you wanted them to be. The shock of the present moment will have you asking yourself, now what do I do? What is useful from the past that I can build on? How far did I let things slide? The present moment is your moment of truth. Now, I want to say that, I do a lot of coaching sessions. A lot of people book coaching sessions with me and they speak with their guides about this particular matter, especially right now, about what do they do? They've got businesses or they've got jobs or whatever it happens to be. They've got kids, all kinds of stuff. What do they do now? How do they build on this when they don't even know what really this is yet? And they don't really know how to go forward. Is it going to return to the old normal? Can they go back and expect that to return and everything's going to be the way it used to be? Or do they plan on something or try to imagine something going forward that becomes their new normal? What is going on? How do they decipher it? How does their life shake out from here on out? I want you to know, you guys, 2 Saturdays from now, on April the 25th, we're going to be doing a webinar about, it's called Stay on the Path. And the path is like a crossroads. What is your path? Is your path this way or is it this way? Is it the way it used to be? Is it the way it's going to be? If it's the way it's going to be, what does that look like? What is that going to be? How do you plan for that? What do you do now? Now, what do you do? I know a lot of you are asking that question. I'm bringing it up. And as far as what you do now, we're going to be really getting into that in the webinar. So things with that we can't really cover in open forums like this, the guides will have liberty to talk with you openly about in our webinar. That's why we charge $29 for it. Okay, it takes time to set it up. There's a whole process involved in it, and you sign up right on my homepage, lindadeer.com. Go down to the live events and you'll see Stay in the Present Moment, the webinar. You can watch the video trailer and click on the link above it for Zoom, and it will let you sign right up. All right. So we're going to touch on it today. We're going to briefly look at it, but we can't get into any detail that's really, specific as far as what, the guides really want to talk to you about, what they have liberty to talk to you about in an open forum for obvious reasons. All right. So we're going to do our best to cover this with you, and we do a lot in Linda's weekly guided insights as the guides navigate you through the uncertain times that you are now living in. By the way, we've been doing Linda's weekly guided insights every week since May of 2014.
That long?
Yeah. So the guides have been speaking to you, preparing you, conditioning you, giving you heads up on how to make changes in your life to get ready for this new normal that is not, it's not by accident that it happened. There is no accident. Okay?
It's amazing when I look back at some of those early ones,
Yeah.
Before we were doing them live and things like that. But how many of the things that they talked about
that are happening
3
now,
or 4 or 5 years ago, they're happening right now.
Right. If you guys
almost
had,
word for word.
I know. If you guys had if you had been receiving those, if you had been, really paying attention to those and taking action along the way, you would not be as surprised right now about what's going on. I'm going to share with you why I know that. Ray and I, being on the forefront of this, where the guides work directly with us, speak through us, and deliver that message to you. We've been walking our talk. We've been living it out. We've been changing and aligning with this new normal for many, many years now. So there's really no adjustment for us. I don't mean to sound cocky. It's not cocky. It's just when we got this information, of course, we channeled the information. It came right through. We were aware of it and we took it on. We acted on this guidance, okay? And moved through, minimizing our life and getting rid of bills we didn't need and living within our means so that we're not financially stressed out. So we have breathing room so we don't have to feel in panic or any of that. They saw it all coming and we took action along the way so that when this all went down, we were completely positioned to help you with what you need to do now, because we've already done it. Not only do we get this information on a day-to-day basis because of the coaching sessions and the work we do and the books I write and the fan base I have and all the stuff that goes along with it, but that we actually walk our talk. All right. So we've lived it. We're seasoned veterans at living it in addition to helping you. So you got the whole enchilada here. All right. This is the real deal. If you guys have questions about what this topic is tonight, about the shock of experiencing the present moment, you find yourself in the present moment and you don't know if what's going on from before, if the old normal is going to come back and be the normal again, or what the heck is the new normal and how do you adjust for that? It's like you feel like you have to do it all at once. It doesn't work like that. You work through it. It's one step at a time as you move into it, and bring down the panic. Because you guys, if you panic about this, if you get worried about this, if all the things you're finding out, and I know a lot of you with time on your hands now are getting on the internet and you're doing your own research, you are questioning what's going on. You guys are getting your eyes open. You're going, oh my God, this is what's been going on while I've been busy living my life like this, like in a rat race where I didn't have time to lift my chin and see what was really going on. Finally, you have a chance to do your own investigation and see what's really going on. And many of you are really upset about it. You haven't had time before. You've been chasing everything. You've been trying to keep up, okay? While you got deeper and deeper in debt, and you got more pulled in to into the life you were programmed to live, all right, instead of the one you came here to experience. So you bump into this stuff and you go, well, what the heck is all this? And you're shocked and surprised and you're angry. That's normal. That's a process. You're moving through it. That's part of this process. Expect that, but don't get stuck there. Okay, Ree, what do we have? Who's with us?
Well, let me see who I see on our screen. We have Mary Elizabeth. Hello. Joy. Hi.
You guys.
Veronica.
Yes.
Ray Howie.
Yes.
And it says there's 3 more, but I don't see them.
Okay. What do we have on Restream, Ray? No.
Nope.
Okay. Is it operating?
It's operating, but when I bring it up on the screen, it cuts you off completely.
It's okay.
Except for about that much.
Yeah, but you can let it play because we want to make sure we keep that going. All right. New processes, you guys, new technology. All right. Okay. So
There.
I would like to hear from you guys about what you're doing or what you're imagining, where you're going from here, under this this current scenario that everybody's in right now. We put up a meme that talked about it must be the universe's way of sending us to our room to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Time out.
Time out
To think about how you've ruined the earth.
or not, that's kind of harsh, right? That's nasty.
Well,
No, they don't, no, nobody wants to do that. They don't mean to do that. It's just that we didn't know any different. Okay. It was just, we felt pushed through the door. We felt forced to do these things. Okay. So could we do better? Totally. We can see now that we're quieted down, we can see how we can do better. But to punish ourselves and chastise ourselves for what we did before, that's not right. That you were pulled into it. All right. So now it's time to just take a look at it and go through the process, you guys. It's like, it's the same thing as mourning anything. All right. You look back at your life and you go, well, God, if only I had known that, I would have done that differently. Or if only people told me the truth, I wouldn't have been so gullible. I wouldn't have bought into that. I wouldn't have done that. You can't do that to yourself. That's filling your life with regrets. And if you're right here in the present moment where you need to be to have any impact at all in your life, then you don't think about that. Okay. You didn't know. How could you did the best you could with what you knew. All right. You're going to do better. Go ahead, Ray.
Joy has a comment. She says, I'm really enjoying this time
I
that
love
she
it.
has for herself.
Yes,
It's
Joy.
allowing her to slow down and be creative. How many people have resurrected their creative outlets during this
That's one of the big,
shelter in place?
okay, so people that have coaching sessions with me,
Mhm.
that's one of the biggest things that's coming out from it. They're painting again.
Right.
They're singing again. They're doing all kinds of things that, pressure from the world, even if you wanted to do it, you just didn't feel like it. You felt tired. You felt, pushed around, and now you have your time back. Okay. That's a great way to spend it, Joy. What do you have, Ray?
Well, just an observation. I think you've been getting a lot of emails and comments about people who are really afraid. Okay. I think that they were kind of shocked into the present moment.
That's true.
They weren't used to it. They wouldn't go there by themselves.
Right.
And they got pushed into it. And now they're realizing, wow. They're a little afraid.
Okay,
Yeah.
but some people are, and some people are having problems with it. Okay. Okay. So there's all kinds of different reasons where people are at any given time along the way. All right. But we're all moving through it. It's all meant it's happening for us, you guys. It's not happening to us. As long as we remember that, and we remember to breathe and just be present as you can. Just be as present as you can, so you can hear what's coming through, so you can feel what's coming through, and then write it down. Please write it down, because you guys aren't used to. You're used to going 100 miles an hour in your life, being pushed around and got to do this, got to do that. Oh, and you're not used to having time for yourself. You're not used to having your life back.
The guide says something today. Let me see if I can find it in today's insight. Here it is. You can now see what you allowed to distract you and run your life, or maybe ruin your life. It's amazing that once you slow down and you start observing about how your life used to be, what you used to do during a normal day, and now what you do differently, how different it is.
It's totally different.
Yeah, you look back and you say, wow, I wasted a lot of years of my life doing that or doing this.
Here's another thing that I'm seeing coming my way with people in, coaching sessions and stuff like that. They all of a sudden find themselves with their family members, shelter in place mandate, and they don't like them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
They never knew that homeschooling was going to be this difficult.
See, Ray, here's another thing. Ray and I have been together, working together, living together, everything for the last almost 16 years now. Well, 16 years.
Yeah, so this shelter in place thing is not a big stretch for us.
And being together all the time is not, we like each other, and we knew we did, but it really puts you to the test, right? So when you are with these people all the time, It may not even be that you don't like them. You're just not used to having people around you that are that close to you all the time. You're used to having, friends, and you can go off and do this and play tennis or go off and do other things and be with other kind of people. And then when you come back to your family, you have family obligations. That's about all you've got. And you don't really have a family where you like each other, where you do things together like you do with your friends or whatever. I've seen a lot of that. So it doesn't mean that you throw the baby out with the bathwater just because you all of a sudden realize that your commonality with your family has dissipated over the years. All right. So it's about patching things up. It's about, where are all of we, all of us, the family members? The kids are not going to school anymore. They're here at home, learning online.
Let's hopefully you can do that,
And
learning online.
yeah, and you have to help them with their homework. There's more intimacy within the family now. That's been a shock for a lot of people.
Look at all the things that distance learning online at home solves. No more school shootings.
Right.
No
No more bullying.
No more bullies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. What else?
No, the kids used to go to school and they always caught flus and got sick and brought it home to you, and you got sick, and it was a germ factory is what it really was.
Yep.
All right. So, and a lot of times the kids didn't want to go to school because of the environment, just the environment, the stress, the distractions. All right.
They don't have to worry about, so-and-so has the new designer clothes on. And
popularity contest.
Yep.
Yep. So it takes a lot of stress away from the kids. It adds stress in some ways, but it takes a lot away.
Life gets simpler.
Yeah, it gets more real.
Yeah,
there's nothing to prove. You're not going to school puffing yourself up trying to,
like Mr. Peacock.
It's true.
Yeah. Look at me.
So what else do we have?
Well, I'm thinking about, the guy said something in the summary today about, they asked people, what are you learning about yourself during these present moments? So why don't we got a lot of people on.
Okay.
So why don't I see some comments in
what are you learning? Read that again.
What are you learning about yourself during this time?
Okay. So what are you guys learning? Joy said that she's learning to be more creative.
Right. And gives her time to slow down.
Oh, that is amazing. And I want you guys to know, Joy doesn't have a perfect life. Joy has challenges in her life. Definitely. She's got kids and grandkids, and she's got a mom that she cares for, and a brother that takes care of other things in the family. So she's got stuff going on, but she's still finding that time to use her present moments in a way that's really powerful. Okay. To be creative, the guides always talk about that. To be creative is why you guys came here. If you don't come from who you are, the creativity comes from who you were before you got here. It's who you were and what you brought with you. And starting to play in that creativity, that's where you're going to get the best out of yourself, and learn why you're here and what your gift is to humanity.
Well, one thing I saw that Joy did, it was on her Facebook page, is she took a drive out to the desert.
We love that.
We did. Beautiful flower and those beautiful rocks, all those rocks with the glyphs on them.
The petroglyphs, right. That was amazing. They were everywhere.
That's it. I mean, I've never seen anything like that.
That was very cool. And Joy went out all by herself just for a day out in the spring weather here in Arizona. Beautiful.
It has been beautiful. The desert's beautiful, and Texas is beautiful. The bluebonns are out. What's the other one? The Indian paintbrushes are out. Stacy would know all about that.
Yeah, is Stacy on?
Stacy's on.
Come on, you guys.
Patty from Texas.
So what is the question again, Ray?
The question is, what are you learning about yourself in these present moments?
Right, that you've been gifted with.
I've been able to simplify my wardrobe. I now have two different things. I have my daytime sweats and my nighttime sweats.
Is that what you spent your present moments doing? Ray?
That's what I did. I just discovered that, I wear these kind of sweats during the day when I'm working, and then at night I take them off and put on my pajama sweats.
Ray and I, because of the nature of what we do, we're busy all the time.
Oh.
Okay. So our present moments haven't changed. I mean,
No.
when I wake up in the morning, I get what the guides want to talk with you about. I get what's important right now and what the webinar is going to be about. Okay. I'm constantly getting this information. Ray, he gets this stuff, comes out of the shower today, and Linda, this comes through. And all it is, you guys, it's not that you don't get it. You get all the things I'm talking about all day long, okay? It's just that you're not remembering it the minute it comes through. You think it's coming from you when it's coming through you, all right?
Right.
That's why you need to write it down. Even if it seems silly and out of context, that especially write it down if it feels like that, because that's how the guides speak. They just drop a 4-word, one-liner to you, and you're
A little hit.
you're going, what was that? What does that mean? What you need to do is write it down. It's like having a dream. Having a dream, you try to figure out what it means, and then you forgot what the dream was. Write the dream down first. Write the moment it came through, whatever that was, that moment, and write it down. You've got to write it down because you guys you're not used to living in two worlds. You're not. You're used to just being in this one and surviving it.
Chasing it and going in circles.
Jesus, and letting it push you around.
Right.
Instead of the flow and the you-ness, the real you that comes from where you came from, where your guides reside, okay? And bringing these two together. That's what this present moment time is meant to give you back, so you can finally harness this.
Okay. Mary Elizabeth said she has learned about how much she loves to be alone.
Wow. You need to write about that. You would need to write about that because you need to see what it is about this time that you love to be alone is. So you can see what you don't like and change that in your new normal. It might even have something to do with moving somewhere other than where you are now. It might have to do with that. It might finally be time for you to do something that bold. We did the webinar. What was it? It was
The end of last month.
No, it was the one at the first of the year.
Oh.
About we do so many things. My God, they talked about all this, about this being a volatile year. That's what they said.
Volatile.
A year of volatility.
Right.
I'm like, whoa. At the time when it came through, I thought, what the heck is that all about? And it's about learning about who you are. That's what they said. It's a volatile year. It's going to be 2020, a volatile year to come. And it's all about, even it's all the volatility, it's about you learning about who you are. If you guys don't know who you are, this is all you're going to have, is this world, and living just in this world. It's not a nice place to just be in this world. If you don't have this part, this real part of you, working with you in this world, just being in this world is frightening. It's so scary. No wonder people live in fear. I understand that. So this time that you have, that you love to spend alone, you finally have you back. That's what that is, Mary Elizabeth. You have you back. And nobody in this world can mess that up. Finally. Okay. So you can start really letting that be there and let that be your new normal, and let that become what your expectation is every day. And who you are is as natural as breathing. So when you find your way back into the world, the new normal, what that's going to look like, finally, it's going to include you. And you will live a whole different life from that. The normal, the new normal that you will find yourself in will be a huge improvement over the life, over what you've been deprived of up until this point in the life that you've lived up to now. It feels like you've been deprived. That's how it finally feels when it stopped like it did. You can finally bring yourself back. Joy, she's enjoying her creativity. Mary Elizabeth is enjoying her time alone. Okay, that's strength in going forward in your new normal, because you're not just in this world anymore, right? You've learned to bring yourself into play and inclusive with the other part of you in this world, so you can carry forward with that. That's how you are present. That's how you become present. And that's how you can hear the guidance coming through. You can feel it. You can feel it. Okay. And you know how to take action on it, because it's in this downtime you have right now that you're learning to play in that. You're learning to feel your way through it. Okay. You're learning what that is. That's why I keep telling you guys, write it all down. Okay.
Okay, Heather, we have Heather over here on this screen, and Heather says she's been doing automatic writing, and when I feel blocked in the last few years, every time she uses automatic writing to get through the block.
That's perfect. That's what I'm talking about, Heather. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Because automatic writing, you have to be out of the way.
Yes, you do. When you're writing anything, anytime you're writing, I want you guys to know the guides are always infiltrating your writing all the time. You look at something that you wrote and you go, well, that's brilliant.
That didn't come from me.
You're thinking, how the heck did I know that?
I don't even speak like that. You know, that's when you really know it.
You didn't know that. Okay, that's the automatic writing part that Heather's talking about. What you'll see is you'll see your own writing, and then you'll see the automatic writing. You'll see your own writing, and you'll see it pouring out. It's amazing, Heather. I love what you're doing.
You know, it's not unlike the board. You know, this is a writing tool.
It's another way of dowsing for information.
Right.
Using Ask the Universal Channel is based on the principles of dowsing, just like automatic writing.
Right.
Same thing. It's all based on the principles of dowsing. Using your pendulum is based on the principles of automatic writing. Muscle testing, okay, right, is based on the principles of dowsing, okay? So it's a norm. We were gifted with this. We came in with it like GPS, you guys. It's always been there.
That's right.
So think about this time as your playtime. You're going back and you're restoring yourself. You're bringing your true self back into the picture. Now, when you come into your new normal, it's not like you throw this away. The ego, it has a perfect place. You're in this world. You need your ego, all right? It looks out for you. It protects the real you. But it's been so dominant that it's offended you, the real you, so much that the real you, it left the scene. It couldn't stand it, okay? Now that things have slowed down, oh my God, you can finally come back. And you gently come. It's like a wounded animal. If you kick a dog or hurt a little kitty cat, they'll be leery of you. Okay, and then finally, if you're nice enough in this world, if you're kind enough and you're calm enough and you're gentle enough, and you know, you're consistent enough where this doesn't have to retreat again, like the animal that was frightened, abused, even you, that would be you. Either you abused yourself or you were abused and you abused yourself ever since, you guys. So this moment you have, this present moment you've been given is amazing if you use it right. So you don't ever lose what you got from it. Okay, go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, getting back to Heather and the automatic writing, when she feels blocked, do you have any advice for her what to do when she feels blocked? when it's not coming through?
Keep writing. Just keep writing. Write to yourself. Just write. That will break through the block.
And breathe.
Yes, and just don't worry about it not being. See, what you're thinking is you're thinking the information that's coming through should come through a certain way. And what's really happening is the information, the automatic writing, the guidance is coming through in a new way. And you're not used to that new way. So you're rejecting it because you're thinking, well, that I'm blocked. No, you're not. You're being moved to shift, and you're not used to how that feels. This part of you is not in control. You need to go back to the wonder, the child that wonders, that experiments with everything, that likes a challenge like that. It goes, oh, let's try that. Let's experiment with that. You need to let this lead you instead of this. Okay, this is in the way. Something new is trying to emerge, and you're confusing it with the way it used to be, the way it's supposed to be, and there is no such thing.
Okay.
Keep writing.
Everybody's asked the same questions they've asked for eternity, right?
Yep.
Who am I and why am I here? So the guides have been talking a lot lately about your path. Getting on your path, staying on your path, follow the path, all that.
And what is your path?
Right, but who you are, you have to learn who you are first. Who you are and knowing what you're capable of determines which way you go
at any given time. Right. And if you don't know who you are, the path that you'll choose is like this. You'll be guessing like this. Okay, I got to tell you, you guys, that's even okay. That's okay. If that's the only place that you have to start from, go there. Okay, it's okay. As long as you don't walk off a cliff or something crazy.
But that was a good analogy. When you did that, you know what I thought of? That old game you used to play in grade school. It's like pin the tail on the donkey.
Yeah.
You know, you're blindfolded, you're walking all around and going the wrong way and stick it in an electric socket or something. I don't know. You're like, you gotta revive that game with our spirit game.
But you have to let it go. You have to let go what you think it's supposed to be, how you feel it's supposed to look, and what you're supposed to be like. Get rid of it, you guys. You know what that is? That's the old normal. You've been sent to your room to reevaluate all that. We got more stuff here, Ray.
Yeah.
To reevaluate all that, you need to give yourself a break and get you off the ride, that wheel that you've been on, because you keep thinking from just this world. This is not all there is. And when I gotta say, when you feel and think that this is all there is, it terrifies people. It would me. I mean, really? This world is all there is? I knew that from the time I was 20 months old. That was totally not true. All right. I talk about it in guiding. And it's not true, you guys. Here it is, plain and simple. You came from somewhere before you got here. That's evidence that this is not all there is. And you go back to where you came from once you're released from this world. This is just a temporary place where you learn things.
A layover.
A long layover.
Yeah, I got a 84-year layover here, it says on my ticket. Wow.
And you guys are supposed to live it, okay? You're not supposed to be afraid of it. You're not supposed to let this world scare you out of your life, okay? That's not who this is. This didn't come here to be put on hold for its whole lifetime, only to finally be released from this world and go, wow, I missed my whole life because I let it scare me. Okay.
Okay, so here, I made some notes here. You mentioned some, that's Heather, she said she had a trauma in her life about 3 years ago, and that's when it stopped. The automatic writing stopped. So now she's going to take your guidance and begin again.
Heather,
thank you so much.
Heather, you've got what it takes. I'm telling you, you've got what it takes. Keep coming on Tuesdays. You will feel your energy pull through it, because whatever blocked you, here's what happened to you, whatever shocked you,
right,
whatever traumatized you. Trauma is tough. write out your trauma. You don't have a block. You have something that showed up and reappeared and said to you by stopping you out. We need to heal the block, the trauma. That's what's going on. It's not a block. It's the trauma that you need to overcome. You need to understand. You need to purge out of you onto the pages so you can finally see it out there instead of having it in here. So you have power over it. You can see what it is and reason your way out of that trauma so it no longer controls you. That's what's going on.
So here's another. I do a lot of studying on what we do for Tuesday nights research.
Right.
And I made a note here that I forgot I made, and it says if you think you know where you're going on this path, okay? If you think you know where you're going, what it's going to be like when you get there, it's like some vacation destination. So if you think you know where you're going, you've missed the entire purpose of going there.
Let me think about that, Ray. You miss the entire, if you think you know where you're going.
Right. You think you know what it's going to be like when you get there and everything. You miss the whole purpose of being on the path and going
okay,
there.
so here, translation. I'm just going to indulge. All right. Is you're not present. You're not in the present moment because you have everything figured out. It's got to be this way. We're going to go, do this when we get there. We're going to do this next. The next day, we're going to do that. We're going to go on this tour. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It's going to be like this. And it turns out to be totally different. The tour guide never showed up. The weather changed. The hotel had an event that was way better than what you had planned. Okay. And you're going to miss it because you have this and you spent this money on this and okay. It filled with expectations from this world, fixed in concrete. Got to be a certain way. It's just the way it's got to be. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And instead of being open, when's the last time you went on a trip, a vacation, whatever, took a new job, whatever it happens to be, and you walked in without expectations, and you showed up 100% who you are, and we're open to everything. When was the last time you indulged in that? That's what you want to treat yourself to. But like Heather, when something comes up, bam, 3 years ago, she was hit with a trauma. Ever since then, her automatic writing ceased. Oh, that's what needs to be worked out to understand, to get out of here and on the pages so you can examine it out there, okay? Because you can't see it when you're in it, okay? You can't do it. So when it's out there and you look at it, now you got power over that thing. Now you write about what really did happen there. How did that make you feel? What did you realize? And only once you realize what you realize from it, do you have any power at all to take action. It's in the action that your course will change.
That's where the journal comes in, My Guided Journey.
And this is the journal Ray's talking about. This is where all this is, you guys. This journal is magical. This will speed dial you through your traumas and your dramas and where you're stuck, all right?
This is not just a journal that you write what happened to you that day in.
No.
You write things down that are odd or unusual, but you write down what happened or what's worrying you that day, but then you go through it and you analyze it. The questions that are on this page after you write it down are what Linda just walked you through. What did you feel? How did you feel about that? What did you realize from it? And then what action can you take now that you realize that? But that's just the journal writing part. There's a center part to the book. It's got 18 chapters, and each one, part two, and each one covers a topic that got you stuck.
Way back there when you were a little kid.
When you were a little kid, all of these things that get you stuck in adult life started, back when you were a little kid.
Yeah.
let me just pick one.
What happens when you're a little kid, you guys, it's not your fault. You come into this world and the people who are here shock you. It's like one thing after the other, and you're going, and before you know it, you're just trying to, dodge the bullets, kind of try to get through it, not upset anybody, not cause a problem. We don't want any problems. And then pretty soon you've caved into all this. You lost yourself in the meantime, and all you have is this world, and it's just, it really throws you off. Okay, no wonder you can't find your way through this life, the life that you came here to live. You guys, you all came here to do something, to live something out, that you're just beginning to be on the brink of remembering. It's your time.
I'm just flipping through the chapters here, and once you realize what you wrote down, how it made you feel, and what you realized from it, then you can go back and, let's say you had a bad relationship. Something happened in a bad relationship. Okay.
That's really common.
Yeah. Well, let me get something that affects everybody, except us, hon.
Well, before you and I,
we had a lot of practice before then. I think she said something like, "You'll never find another one like me," and I said, "Well, yeah, that's my plan." Okay.
Hopefully he learned something,
Yeah. So what happens in a lot of relationships is you compromise to have a relationship. You don't show up in that relationship as who you really are. You do on a first date. You show up as your alter ego.
Well,
that's not who you are. That's covering up who you are. You show up as your alter ego, Miss Perfect, Mr. Nice Guy, that kind of thing.
You're on your best behavior.
You're on your best behavior. You try not to slop any food, or anything like that. But eventually, as you go out more and more, the more of the real you kind of slips out. You know what I'm saying?
I totally know.
There you go. It slips out. And what happens is the infatuation period gets over, and you may even get married or move in and live together or whatever. And all of a sudden, wow, that other person's really changed. I never saw that coming.
It's never like
because
that.
They had trouble being themselves. So you go back and you look at what chapter is this? Chapter 12 is compromise.
There's 18 chapters.
18 chapters, and this is, if you're having troubles with relationships, a lot of the times it's because of compromise. And you go back to this chapter right here, compromise, and talks about quiet desperation took over your life. You took everything personally, and we watched you get lost.
The guys are talking.
Right.
They watched you get lost.
Compromise. For the first time in your life, you felt something was missing, that you weren't good enough. Your struggle began. You struggled to cover that up.
That's when struggle in your life began.
Your life became hard and competitive. You took everything personally, and we watched you get lost.
That says it all. And you guys, when you hear these words, that's when you go, who's talking to me here? It's the guides. And then you remember, I remember when I was connected, when I was really little. I remember when I didn't compromise, when I went out and played every day. People in this world seemed to leave me alone. They just let me be a kid. And I would go off and I'd find myself busy all day long, having fun, learning about this, exploring that, riding my bike to go here and there, and going down to the creek and play with the bugs, and I don't know, whatever drew your interest. Okay, that's when you had this connection to the present moment.
Right, you were living in the moment.
You were right there, and because you were present, because you were captivated by the present moment, you were connected, and everything you did was not. You never felt alone. When you were a little kid and you were in this moment, in this, exploring time that you were in, you never felt alone, because you weren't. This is what it's asking you by compromising. It's a direct contrast to the way you used to be when you were present, when you were connected. When you're compromising, you're disconnected. You're no longer present. It's a farthest thing from it,
The secret to this book is when you go back and find out where it was that you were taught something that was wrong, that you You put a belief system around it and make decisions for the rest of your life.
That jarred you
Right.
out of the present moment, like Heather. Heather talked about something happened some traumatic thing happened to her 3 years ago. Boom, jarred her right out of that present moment and kept her from herself ever since. Wrong information. We got to go back and heal it. But it happened to all of us in some form. Ray happened to talk about compromise. There's rebellion. There's all separation.
You felt alone.
There's all the things that happened in your life that some of you got really hung up on, that stopped you out and left you just in this world, just here. No wonder you were scared. No wonder you couldn't seem to pull it off, because you were missing the real you. All right.
You know what I like about this desperation, compromise, quiet desperation on page 78? But there's a picture of a little girl here, a little dark-haired girl that looks kind of like you at what, 7 or 8 years old?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So anyway, it gives you a little essence of what it feels like when you see those pictures. That happened to be me. Okay, I put them out there for you guys to examine, to remember yourself by. All right. Do we have any other questions here, Ray?
Oh,
We're waiting for questions.
I
you
have
guys.
a lot of questions.
But I mean, from these
Let
guys.
me see here. Stacy said her sound is gone. Let me see what's going on here. Nope, sound's going out full strength.
If you guys are, well, if you're having sound.
Must be coronavirus.
But if we were having sound problems.
Everybody would say it. But here's the sound meter.
It's fine. Okay. So there must be something on your end there, Stacy. Okay, sorry about that. So,
but the review, the replay will be up right after this.
The guides are going to talk with you about this shock of experiencing the present moment. When we close tonight, don't go away. They're going to close the session with their closing message about this present moment, and what you guys need to not miss while you're in it. Okay. So we've talked enough about it. Now we're going to let the guides talk about it. But first I'm going to share an announcement, a couple of announcements, starting with next Tuesday. Of course, every Tuesday we're here. April 21st, join me. I will be streaming live on my Facebook page, my Facebook timeline, and my YouTube channel. Use the search term Linda Deer. This will be a Q&A and commentary, just like tonight. And the insight will be published in Linda's Weekly Guided Insights with me and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time. In Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, my spirit guides will be talking about the spiritual meanings of the global separation. The current situation of separation has forced people into some uncomfortable changes. People are alone, they are afraid, and wondering when this situation will be over so things can get back to normal. But most people haven't given much thought to why it's happening. When you understand why, you will know the spiritual meaning so you can learn from this situation. So don't miss that next Tuesday. All right. And this Thursday on our private group, we have a private group called Ask the Universal Channel. And if you want to join the group, look in the description of this video for the link to ask to join. Okay. This Thursday, April 16th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, join us on our Facebook private group, Ask the Universal Channel. The teachers of Ask the Universal Channel will be performing the following. Kathy's Spirit Guides will talk about how being creative is a great way to stay present. There you go, Joy, the creativity. The guides talk about this all the time. Bringing back your creativity is bringing back who you are, the gifts and the talents you brought with you when you first came here. Joy's Spirit Guides will discuss how to connect with your guides to help you navigate the situation at home during this current world situation. Great one, Joy. Veronica's spirit guides will talk about what people can do when startled by fear. That's a good one, Veronica. Kim's spirit guides will talk about why it's important to have courage to follow their guidance. She's talking about the spirit guides' guidance. Why writing down your questions and answers that come through can enhance this form of communication. So don't miss that. If you guys don't belong to the group, ask to join, ask the Universal channel, what you want to put into Facebook to find it. Otherwise, we'll see the rest of you there. We have 97 members right now in the group, but this is a tight, soul-driven group, okay? So it's like, unlike any group that's really on Facebook. Okay, and then I want to announce the webinar that we're going to be doing next Saturday, April 25th from 1 to 2 p.m. for $29. This webinar is entitled Stay on the Path with Linda Deer, Ray Hawley, and the guides. In this webinar, my spirit guides will help you find your path. Your guides have been waiting for you to be ready to step onto your path without being fearful. The path is the only way. Watch the video trailer and register for this webinar by clicking on the link in the description of this video. Register early as seating is limited. If you miss watching us live, you will receive a link right after the video's uploaded. I'll let you know when it's live. And then those of you who've already registered for it will get a notice to watch the replay for the next 30 days. So that's going to be a powerful.
Watch it every day if you're still sheltering in place.
And in the webinars, the spirit guides are speaking to you a lot about what the topic is. Okay, so this is about stay on the path, find the path. What path? Do you go this way? Do you go that way? What way do you go? Okay, they're going to talk to you about all this, so you're not wondering anymore, because this new normal is historical. This is a historical new normal that you are now entering. This is not for lightweights. You guys are here for a reason. You were meant to be here at this time in history. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So the guides are going to close this session with their closing message about the shock of experiencing the present moment. And here they go.
What is it about the shock of the present moment? Go back and observe what happened when you were forced into the present moment. Here's what we saw. Your head came up out of your phone and you looked around for the first time in a long time. You noticed things that you hadn't in the past. Some of those things were pleasant, but many were disturbing to you. Some of those things were personal, while others had to do with outside forces. Some personal observations bothered you. For example, perhaps how far you had let your health slide over the years. Others were extremely disturbing and maybe even hard to imagine. Things you may have heard about in the past, but found them so far-fetched and implausible that you dismissed them as conspiracy theories bantered about by fringe dwelling lunatics that now seem to be common knowledge held by many. You may even see the dangers of these so-called theories rolling out and making you feel angry. You may be wondering about which path you will choose to take and the associated consequences of choosing one over the other. Why it matters that you are here right now at this time in history. We can tell you that the coming experiences will help you decide who you are, why you are here, and how you engage your free will for the betterment of your species. Your greatest test will be to stay the path.
Whew.
That was a long one.
I mean, I was sweating the whole time that one went down. Okay, I could feel that before we even started. I could feel it hit me. All right.
I feel it right here, back of my neck.
We have something there, Ray. What do we have? Okay.
Heather. I don't always make your video live. I live in Scotland. Oh,
God.
out on the moors.
We're so glad that you joined us tonight, Heather.
And it's 3 a.m. This is the time when you're live. We have a lot of people from Europe,
Yeah, we do.
Netherlands, UK, Scotland.
We're really happy you joined us tonight, this morning for you, Heather.
You really helped me a lot. I love your book. I have your book. It's very informative. The trauma I suffered was my daughter lost her husband suddenly, and I lost my husband, her dad, 2 months later with cancer. So bless you both.
Well, bless you. Just keep the writing going, Heather. Work through it. I want you to know something. In Guided, when you read Guided, the part in chapter 15, I can't even remember the chapter. It was the hardest chapter for me to narrate. And even talking about it, I still don't know how I'm gonna, ever read that chapter again. But chapter 15 in Guided talks about how when Mark was killed, and I was in shock. I was really in shock after it happened. And I was 30 when this happened. So I wasn't really, it was the first person that I knew that died that was close to me, okay, that ever was close to me. So it was really, and the way that he was killed was, I knew it was going to happen. I told him it was going to happen a week before it happened. I mean, but it doesn't change the fact that, it shocked me, it traumatized me, and I understand what you mean. And he came back to me 3 times physically right in front of me, just like my guide showed up when I took their photograph in December of 1994. And they appeared right there in the room physically for me to snap off their photograph, because they knew I would be writing this book. And it turned out I wrote it 20, published it 20 years later, wrote it and published it 20 years later. They know everything. Your guides see it all. But when that happened, Mark came back to me 3 times, and he asked me to let him go. It was so painful. My pain would not let him go. Okay, it wouldn't let him move on and go back to the source where we all go back to, because my pain was holding him back. So this part of you where your writing was interrupted by, your automatic writing was interrupted because of this trauma, that's what's going on, Heather. Now, when you're sitting in limbo, when you leave this world and you're sitting in limbo, you don't feel time. Time doesn't exist, okay? So they're not damaged, they're not hurt, but you are. And they know that you are. So it's hard for them to move on. That's what's blocking you. So you need to let that out on the pages. Cry. Let yourself know that they are in a much better place than you are. I got to tell you that. And they don't want you to suffer. It really, really hurts them to see you suffer like this, because your suffering is an illusion. It's not true that they're hurting. It's not true that you'll never see them again. It's not true that they're gone forever. It's so far from true. It's ridiculous. That's what I learned. Okay, so I can tell you, honest to God, I can tell you that the way it really works is they are instantly released from this world, and there's no more suffering, and there's no more pain, and they're young again and healthy again, and they feel whole again. There's no more hole in their soul. There's no more pain. And you're in a world where you're only part of you is here. It's painful to be disconnected and separate from who you are, and everyone who's there, who you miss, who you long for. I know this feeling. So how are you going to work it out? You're going to write about it. You're going to tell them how much you love them, and thank them for helping you see what this is, and thank them for sending you to guide you, so you could get this, and then you could show up, and you could have a taste of it again, and you could get through this, Heather, okay? Because what you are suffering from is completely unnecessary. Completely. Okay? That's okay, Rick, let it go. So I just want to say that to you, Heather. My heart goes out to you. You don't need to suffer. All right. Use this time that you have. Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, we have some people came in near the end. Stephanie McGilvery. Hi, Stephanie. She said, thanks for doing this. Yes, that's what we live for.
We do. We
and
love you guys.
Cindy Holt says, wish my guides would appear. She feels her deceased family around. And Cindy said, when I let my fiance go, he started coming around.
Now, what does that mean?
He started showing up. I mean,
where did he go?
I don't know.
Okay.
He just said she let him go.
When she let him go,
right,
he started coming around. So
right.
I'm getting the feeling that, did he cross? And when you let it go, then he started coming around in your dreams or whatever's going on with that. I mean, after I let Mark go, I'm going to continue with that thought. After I let Mark go, I could finally function again. Okay. And I was back to myself, back to my regular old self. All right. Then he started coming through and pulling little pranks. Like one time I talk about it in Guided. I had the toothpaste out, and I took the top of the toothpaste off, and I went to put it down on the counter so I could put it on my toothbrush and brush my teeth. As soon as I went to put it down on the counter, I did a second double take, and I went, I know I just put that there. So I sensed that something was going to happen. All right. And so I went ahead and brushed, but I did that double take, right? I brushed my teeth and I went back to get the top and it was gone. And I said, Mark, bring it back. I know that's you. And I looked, I don't know. I went to wash off my toothbrush and I looked back and there it was. So they play with you guys. If you are in tune with it, if you're not in pain, if you're in your happy place, in your present moment, then you're available for any possibility. All the possibilities open up to you. By the way, for those of you who have read Guided, or who will read Guided or listen to Guided, I did it in audiobook format and I read the book also. Please leave a review. It's reviews that help other people find it. It's so important, okay?
And if they want to hear chapter 3, it's this Saturday.
I'm going to be reading chapter 3 at 1 p.m. Pacific time, right where we are right now. Okay, so join me. I'm happy to do that.
People are really liking that.
They are, yeah.
You know, have the author read her true life story. And here's another, synchronicity that happened here. Somebody else named Ray Holly is on.
Get out of here.
The other, he's claiming to be me, apparently.
Is that?
Yeah, you know who it is.
It's the other.
It's the other Ray Holly.
Welcome. We tried to get, when Ray has his own business too, we tried to get rayholly.com, but rayholly.com was already taken.
Yeah, and he wouldn't sell it to me, so I had to settle for the hollylama.com.
It's rayhollygroup.com.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Group of one.
But we love having you, Ray Holly, and we actually met Ray Holly. He came to Sedona, and we went to
dinner.
We went to dinner with him and his lovely wife, and we met these guys, so that was pretty good.
We might find the other Ray Hollies. There's a lot of them.
There's a football player.
There's a famous football player. There's other famous ones just besides me and him. He's a writer too.
He is.
Yes,
he is.
But maybe we should get all these Ray Hollies together and just have a Ray Holly party somewhere.
Mm.
Sedona.
We could have a Ray Holly
party.
Yes.
Everybody named Ray Holly gets an invite.
Okay, Ray. So let's wrap this up. We love being with you guys. We're so happy you showed up tonight. And look for us on Thursday in Ask the Universal channel group. If you want to join it, look for the link in the video. And if you already belong, we look forward to having you there at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Otherwise, I'll see you Saturday, be reading chapter 3 of Guided, 1 p.m.
And then the following Saturday is the webinar.
Yes.
Stay on your path.
So sign up for the webinar. Go to my website.
Cindy says she's going to get your book. I will get your book. And who else says? Linda Baca Goodway. She said, I left a review. Absolutely loved your book.
Thank you. Thank you, you guys.
Yeah, so it's those reviews that help. Your heartfelt words are what help other people find the story, so they can heal.
You know what? I'm so grateful for all of you, and I'm especially grateful for this guy right here. I mean it. Without Ray, I don't know if I would have followed through on this. It's been a tremendous writing, and what I hear from people the most is how that it's harrowing. The first 8 chapters of Guided is harrowing. It's how but it's at the same time, you guys, I call it my childhood boot camp, because it's how I made this connection to my spirit guides that became so solid that I've had a great life, because I've always had their guidance, their timely guidance, their loving guidance, and it's never steered me wrong. It got rid of a lot of pain in my life. Right. So we love you all, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday too.
And especially that pain lifted in part 4 of that book, where you met me and now you live happily ever after.
I do. Yeah, and that was a total setup, you guys. I didn't pick him.
Nope.
He was picked by a divine force.
I showed up.
Yeah, it's a powerful story. Anyway, I love you all, and we will see you guys all over the place. Just
All over
look,
the place.
look in the description of the video. You're going to see all the places where we are, and you can join us on all of them.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Be kind. Don't touch your face.